Good afternoon, 47. Your target is Hollywood legend and infamous loose cannon, Gary Busey. Codename, The Wild Card. He is in Sapienza to film an advertisement, but is now refusing to participate. The following audio was captured as he fled the set.
You'll never find me! I have the power of invisibility!
This fiasco has cost the client millions, and they've decided to terminate their relationship with the target permanently. Complicating matters is the presence of an angry co-star, Gary Cole. However...
Hello everyone, I'm Vernon Austin with Dis2 Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about the new episodic Hitman. Is this new Hitman a return to form for the series, or has this game completely missed its target? But more importantly, is it worth your time and your money? The short answer is yes. The episodic nature of Hitman allows someone who is curious about the series to jump in at a relatively low cost. Hitman is a third-person action stealth game where the player assumes the role of an assassin who is tasked with taking out 2 or more targets in a large public area by any means. So just for the very fact that there aren't really that many games in this genre, if that interests you, then it's probably worth your $10 to see if you like it. It's not perfect, however. In fact, this isn't even my favorite Hitman game in the series, but I'll get to that later. For right now, why don't I talk about the graphics? The graphics are a high point for the series. The environments look great, the maps are swarming with hundreds if not thousands of NPCs, and Agent 47 himself looks better than ever. I did run into one or two oddities, such as when I leaned against a wall and took out my fiber wire, my hands would clip through my body depending what disguise I was wearing. But I haven't encountered anything that really detracts from the overall beauty of the game, or any game-breaking bugs. The frame rate is capped at 30 frames per second, and during my experience held steady even when the action intensified. Let's talk about gameplay. As I said earlier, Hitman is just that, a Hitman simulator, where you sneak, kill, and play dress-up, all to murder some poor bastard who pissed off the wrong person. Now if you're a fan of the series like I am, then your first question that you're probably asking yourself is this game more like Hitman Blood Money, or more like Hitman Absolution? Thankfully, this Hitman has more in common with Hitman Blood Money than with Absolution. But it's not all good. As I said earlier, this isn't even my favorite Hitman. That doesn't mean it's not a fine game, it's just not my favorite. And here's why. I have an admitted bias and utter nostalgia for Hitman Blood Money because my brother and I used to play Hitman Blood Money constantly when we were younger. The funny thing is we would play the same level over and over. That level was the mission A New Life from Hitman Blood Money. I believe that mission is the gold standard which every other Hitman game should be measured against. I mean, sometimes we would go for the Silent Assassin's approach, but other times our goal was to take out the whole block. My point is, a big reason that we played the hell out of that level is because it was such diabolical fun to wreak havoc on the entire neighborhood, not just the target. Unfortunately, this new Hitman just isn't really set up like that. Don't get me wrong, there's an impressive variety in which you can take out your target, but it's just not as fun to wreak havoc on the general public in the same way it was with Blood Money. And there's a few reasons for that. There's no first-person mode, Hitman can't take as much damage, the maps are bigger, and there's more NPCs. The game's not as bloody as previous titles, and the gameplay isn't as satisfying. Don't get me wrong, the gunplay is serviceable, but the fact that there's no option to change your perspective to first person, it just fundamentally changes the gunplay, and it's something I noticed immediately was missing. It's jarring for a long-time fan of the series, and it's a feature that I hope makes its way back to the game. But it probably won't, just as the gunplay isn't a big focus as it was in previous titles. But it's not all bad. As I said, this game has more in common with Blood Money than Absolution. If you're not a fan of the series and don't know why that's important, it's because Absolution was a low point for the series for a few reasons, but mainly because instead of individual sandboxes, they created a linear story with checkpoints. Checkpoints don't belong in a Hitman game. Give us save slots, yes, but no checkpoints. Hitman is about equipping your tools of death and approaching the hit however you please in a sandbox, and thankfully that is the case with this new Hitman, which is why the episodic nature does not bother me. I do see a lot of people complaining about the episodic release of this Hitman, saying that they are only going to buy it when they can get the full experience. I respect that decision, but I don't agree that being episodic is inherently a bad thing for the Hitman series. Each episode is a self-contained experience, which, as I said, I'm happy that they've returned to an open sandbox approach, and for $10 an episode, that's a low cost of entry. Each level also has an impressive number of challenges that encourage Agent 47 to complete contracts in different ways, which does a lot in terms of replayability. There's also Contracts mode, which allows people to create their own hits using specific kill conditions on any random NPC that they choose, and share that contract with the community. Contract was one of the few things to come out of Absolution that I liked, so I'm glad that it's made a return to the new Hitman. But it's not all good news, as somehow they have not included a search or share function with your friends, meaning I can't do my friends' contracts. This is a glaring issue that severely hampers the social experience and hurts the overall game. The devs need to patch this immediately. There is also the exclusive target. The exclusive target is a custom character created by the devs that you have a limited time to eliminate before they're gone forever. While I like the idea of the devs adding new targets, I'm not a big fan of this mode. The problem with exclusive targets is that they're temporary, and when they're gone, meaning that someone who wanted to hold out to buy the entire experience or needs to buy a physical copy of the game is not going to have access to that content. While I'm not against people who are buying these episodes as they come out having extra content, it does seem to be a waste. Not to mention that even if you do buy the episodes and play them as they come out, you can still miss them if you're not paying attention. I also find it a bit annoying you can't reattempt the hit. I mean, I understand what they're going for, I just personally don't find it enjoyable, and I would prefer to kill Gary Busey anytime I feel like it, rather than it being a one and done. Some other things that I should touch on are the story, sound, and music. The story for the individual missions are pretty good. They have flashy cutscenes explaining the context of the mission at hand. Although the overall story arc at this point is rather thin, it could be due to in part of the episodic nature of the game, or the fact that there have only been a few missions at this point. The sound and music seem to be good. Guns sound as they should, music ramps up when the action does, and there's nice little touches like sound getting muffled when Agent 47 uses his insight. NPCs have rather entertaining lines of dialogue, although something I found odd is that for a globe-trotting affair, all the henchmen seem to be white dudes from America. This isn't a huge complaint or anything, it's just something that I found a bit odd. So, all in all, I think the new Hitman is a step in the right direction for the series, and the episodic nature of Hitman might actually be a good thing. For $10, I would recommend that you pick up either episode 1 or 2 and see what you think.
I like to get my hand.
Well, that does it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would love to hear what you think about the new Hitman game, and where you think the series should go from here. Am I right to say Hitman Blood Money is the best? Let me know in the comments. Thanks again, and I will catch you next time.
Oh my God!
Thank you, messenger.
Don't. I just killed you.
Then what do you think?